I had a group of patients who had transfer care from other institutions, and they would say, "Doctor, what are you doing to me here? I used to be sick like a dog after chemo there, and here I have almost no side effects." I remember reading that stage 4 lung cancer only had about a 30% chance of response to chemo. And I reading that, I was like, what are they talking about? I have an almost 100% response rate. If you are an intuitive person like me with a spiritual side, you probably are convinced by now and you don't need any more explanations. But this podcast is devoted to both the hippies and the nerds. So for the nerds, I have plenty of data to share. Welcome to Body, Mind, and Spirit. I'm your host, Dr. Pichardo-Johansson, retired board-certified hematologist-oncologist and twice cancer survivor. My intention for this show is to bridge the gap between medical science and spirit, reconcile conventional medicine and holistic wellness, and to normalize the conversation about the spiritual dimensions of health. The moment I was able to have some saying in my oncology practice, when I was no longer an employee but a shareholder, I started applying as my number one principle that my priority was making the patients feel joyful. And I've shared some of that in previous videos. I decorated my office with palm trees and beach scenes. We used to have this horrible drop ceiling with fluorescent lamps, and I had all the films covering the lamps changed by blue skies with clouds. I used to organize holiday parties and have the patients practice dancing merengue. And I had inspirational quotes in the walls, and I had jokes in the examination rooms, and the staff was trained to make the patients smile. And I saw the difference drastically. I didn't keep those records. I'll never be able to prove it, but my patients responded much more to treatment than what the books were telling me they were supposed to do. Please take a moment to subscribe to this channel. Help us spread the mission of this channel, which is not only education, but also awareness. When you share this video, when you like it, when you comment, you are helping us change the conversation and shift the consensus reality in the world. Thank you. It means a lot to me. Now, back to the show. I remember reading one time that stage 4 lung cancer, non-small cell lung cancer back then before immunotherapy, only had about a 30% chance of response to chemo. And I reading that, I was like, what are they talking about? I have an almost 100% response rate. And beyond that, I had a group of patients who had transfer care from other institutions, and they would say, "Doctor, what are you doing to me here? I used to be sick like a dog after chemo there, and here I have almost no side effects." Even more, bone marrow biopsies. Those procedures, thank God, now are being done by interventional radiology under sedation, under CAT scan guidance. But back in the old days, I had to put a needle in the patient's hip bone to draw and get samples of bone marrow. And that was tough. For me to be able to do those procedures during fellowship training, I had to knock the patients down with Valium and morphine for my peace of mind. And then when I graduated and I became an oncologist, we couldn't do that in the outpatient. You couldn't put someone under conscious sedation without an anesthesiologist and a crash cart. So I had to do them under local anesthesia with the patients widely awake. I created a little comedy show, part scripted, part improvised with my medical assistant, that we had a series of questions and jokes that we made during the procedure and kept the patients laughing. And almost every patient at the end said the same thing. "Are you seriously done? That wasn't nearly as bad as I expected." So from my humble experiments back then, I had 3 conclusions. Definitely, laughter and joy were improving the patient's symptoms. They seem to be improving the patient's pain management. And I had the strong suspicion they were also improving the response rate to treatment. I hope until now I have convinced you of why I decided early on in my career that making a difference in the patient's emotional state could make a significant difference in their quality of life and even potentially their response to treatment. And if you are an intuitive person like me with a spiritual side, you probably are convinced by now and you don't need any more explanations. But this podcast is devoted to both the hippies and the nerds. So for the nerds, I have plenty of data to share. If you are not one of the nerds, I recommend that you stay and listen, because that will give you tools to debate people who try to put down your beliefs and try to tell you that it's all in your imagination and that life is not a fairy tale. Why are we ignoring results like this? Why? Because psychosocial interventions, laughter therapy, music therapy don't have a marketing team behind it, like drugs do. And something that can increase your chances to be alive in 1 year or 2 years is better than the overwhelming majority of chemotherapy drugs that have ever been approved. So that by itself would be enough to convince me that it was not my imagination. But there is a lot more.